Today marks 1590, a day of daily lessons, daily reflections. And today I speak about context. Such an important topic because I could call it even a king, because even one idea, one advice in one station could be genius. Exactly the same advice in other station, in the other context, could be the stupidest thing ever. So knowing that context is such an important thing, that the idea could be genius or stupid, depends on the context, we need to understand where that context is showing up and how we can really put ourselves in the best position to really use context for our benefit rather than against us. So number one is the same action can be genius or stupid on the context. That's already where I started. That context is it's an interesting thing because when you look into person says I want to be a business owner and said like, oh just quit your job and build a business. But would that be really a genius for every single person, or would it be self-sabotage for some people? And I truly believe it's self-sabotage. That person, one person might have already skill sets, might be that he already built a business, it might be that he has savings, it might be that he doesn't have anything under his dependency. There are so many different things that we need to consider when we're leaving a job. Now, he's not only he doesn't have anyone depending on him, he has skill sets developed in previous jobs and careers or businesses, so he's ready to move on. Other person potentially, he has kids, he doesn't have any savings, he doesn't develop the skill sets yet, just now realize that he wants to be a business owner. So maybe is the best time for him to really work, to find a job that could develop some skill sets, develop the finances, develop the skill sets in the evenings. Because it's not about waiting, it's about doing something during the time that you have available right now. So quitting for a business is a great advice, but we need to understand what is the context of that person, because it might be, as I said, it could be a genius for one person, other person could be self sabotage. Second advice could be that advice without context is an intellectual junk, and I think that's an interesting thing because when you look into so many people say, "Oh, do those routines, do those routines, and you will be successful." Wake up at 5 a.m., hustle harder, work harder, follow passion. But when you look into advice, we don't ask the question for who this advice is. For who? And this is a great question to ask because we need to understand where that person is coming from. Because it might be that this person already executing well and working very, very hard. He just is not efficient. He's not smart enough yet about his decisions. So suggestion to work harder for him will sabotage him. Or person who is extremely disciplined and they say like, okay, wake up at 5 a.m. and he will do those things easily and will not get any results. That's not what he needs. He needs maybe more awareness. Sit down on the butt and not doing anything and allow himself to really understand and build awareness, that awareness and clarity would come in, and with that clarity will able to allocate his energy. Maybe someone is in a massive depression and for him to wake up at 5 a.m., maybe it will be too hard. Maybe be able to give some better advice for that person. So I think that is very, very important. Advice without context about who this advice is to is potentially just a junk. Number three is context determines what the real problem actually is. It's an interesting thing because people say like, "Oh, I'm lazy. I'm procrastinator," and a lot of times those are not real problems. Those are the cover up of real problem. A real problem might be that I'm not enough. I have fears. I have doubts. I failed in the past. I'm afraid that I will fail again. I don't have clarity what I need to do, and that's why I procrastinate because I just don't know what I need to do. And I call myself lazy. I call myself I procrastinate. I just don't know what to do. And I think that sometimes mislabel our problems. And now we go outside and go YouTube, read books, how to less procrastinate, how to be less lazy, how to be more disciplined. Or maybe we're supposed to take a book on how to really heal from self-doubt, how to heal from feeling not enough, how to heal from fear of failure. And because if you're trying to fix the problem that doesn't exist, of course you'll never fix it. So that means that context determines what the really problem is, and you focus on the real problem. Because I think that, including myself, we sometimes focuses on on the wrong problem, and sometimes really focusing on solution will fix the problem byproduct. Number four is context explains behavior better than personality. An interesting thing because it could be again, you can call yourself certain way. I'm lazy, I have bad discipline, I'm unconfident, I'm this way, I'm this way. It might be that you start to believe that because you just an environment is so toxic. Your environment is so toxic that you start to doubt yourself. And if you take you away of your environment, you will be able to thrive again. I really love that analogy, and probably you've heard 1,000 times, is that if a flower is not beautiful, it's not nourishing, and it's sitting in a corner, and it seems like leaning down, and sometimes removing that flower and putting in a better environment will allow that flower to bloom. And I think exactly the same with people. Sometimes we really judge the person for their actions, but we don't judge the environment they are in. Because I truly know by my own experience that environment is extremely important. When I was in an environment where was toxic, everything went down. My focus, my productivity, my self-belief, my confidence, all the things just was going down with that environment. And it's extremely important to really take yourself out of that environment. It might be toxic workplace, a toxic relationship. It could be a lot of different things. But we need to sometimes ask, when I do not perform, do because we can have even some experience in the past, look into the past, like what was in the past that really allowed me to do to execute in a high level, and now I'm in new environment, but my execution fall down. Maybe that's it's an environment, not always, but it might be. Number five, the most successful people obsess over context. That's it. Then when we look into how important context is, we look into that context is the king. So that means that successful people, what they will do, okay, like, what is my environment doing to me? It's impossible to run away from an environment. So, okay, does my environment leverage me? Does allow me to upgrade me? Or it downgrades me? Or does it drains me? Because energy is the most important thing. Is there a constraints that exist in my life right now? Maybe there's something sabotaging me internally, externally. And I think that about the timing is they ask okay like if because things certain things are based on time as well, so like they always question what is the context right now in my life, how to use better context, how to remove myself from bad context and put myself in good context. Number six, the biggest life mistake: coping tactics instead of understanding context. I have seen it so many times, especially the personal growth, personal development area, because I spent so much time in that field, and I read so many books. I attend so many conferences. I watch so many YouTube videos. And this is just every single person that this is the key. This is will save their life. This is what they need to do. One small detail that they need to change, and that's it. And I think that copying the tactics without understanding or context will lead nowhere. And I could tell you from experience. And I think that we need to understand our a lot of times even the most important area is internal state. Because a lot of times people say like this is what you need to do in the morning, but their state is might be so different. And based on our say, that's what you're supposed to do. So that means that if you unmotivated, at l- you super unmotivated in the morning, you feel devastated. I don't want to move. Maybe it's great something to do regarding motivation. Maybe able to even watch 5, 10 minutes motivational video. But if you wake up motivated, you want to do something, maybe those 5 minutes motivation will not help at all. Maybe at that moment, like calming meditation, to really ground yourself with that energy that you have. It means your level when you wake up in the morning and you feel differently, your actions will should be different as well. And I think that's the beautiful part is when people, not the beautiful part, but that's the scary part is when people say that this is what you need to do every single morning, no matter how you feel. Maybe you have a base routine when you develop yourself and you have always very similar background. You might have very similar routines, but again, every single person based on what they're pursuing right now might have different default. So that means when you're asking for routines from different people, we're supposed to ask what you pursuing, what's your vision, what you're going after. Because if you want to have very average life and you're doing routines of average life, that's all fine. But if you want to pursue something massive and you take routines of people who has it, oh, I have peace, and now because he has peace, now you're going and do those activities. So I think that when we create routines, we need to have the purpose. What's the purpose of this routine? What's the context? And as I said, I think that maybe not fully explain the importance of context yet today, but I think that I will share tomorrow 5 different contexts that we need to really look after just to make sure that we're able to become the best version of ourselves. Because the more I learn about context, the more I understand how important it is. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.